The natural hair didn't last long. Hey, so today I'm going to be doing the eyeshadow palette tag. I've been seeing this tag go around quite a lot recently, and I thought I might as well do it since I am a self-confessed eyeshadow goblin. This tag was started by Samantha and Allie Glines. I will link their videos down below, as well as their channels. I have all of the questions written out in my trusty notepad right here, so let's get started. Question 1. What is your newest palette? Now, my newest palette is the Kaleidos Escape Pod palette. It looks something like this. I will have my full review on this entire collection, which includes this palette, going up later this week. But yeah, this is my newest palette, and I am so far really loving it. Like, I'm obsessed. Question number 2. Show your oldest palette. Now, my oldest palettes aren't in my collection anymore. I've actually decluttered them. However, you may be able to notice, actually no you can't, my tripod's in the way, great. In the background here is my bookshelf, and on top of my bookshelf I have a couple of my oldest palettes. Let me actually get them for you. Out of the two of these, this one is the oldest one, even though these aren't in my collection anymore since I decluttered them, since I don't use them, but I do display them because they hold sentimental value to me and I could never get rid of them. And plus the packaging is hella cute and they kind of match. Anyways, this is the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette. My partner Harley got this for me for our first Christmas, which was nearly 4 years ago. But yeah, this palette is about 4 years old. I don't use it anymore, however, it still does smell good. It still smells like chocolate, and I mean, look at this colour scheme. This ain't a sky colour scheme anymore. And the other one is the Modern Renaissance palette. Harley got this for me for my 16th birthday, which was 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago now. But they will always hold a special place in my heart, hence why they are displayed over here. Question 3. Show your most expensive palette. Now, I have two palettes for this category because one of them is just a standalone palette, the other one is single shadows, and I didn't know if we were counting single shadows in this, but I just want to mention it anyway. This is my Sugar Pill Pro palette. It is almost completely full. I haven't even attempted to fill these 3 shades. Like, it's been empty for a little bit. But I think the total cost of this palette is around the £100 mark. Damn, really? I mean, we can tell I love this palette. I use it constantly. This is literally my baby. Anytime I want to do anything colourful, I always want to reach for this one. I use these shades as blushes a lot of the times. Actually, all of these 4 shades as blush. I've hit pan in 3, almost hit pan in this shade, and it's just, I love it. It's so well loved. It was expensive, and I do love Sugar Pill's formula. I do recommend it. However, it is an investment. It is an investment, and I actually just bought shades over time. And also I have to mention that you do have to buy the palette and the singles separately. So the singles you don't get a free palette, you have to buy the palette separately. Yikes. But if we're talking standalone eyeshadow palette, then my most expensive is the Melt Cosmetics Smoke Sessions palette. I think this retails for about, I actually don't know. I'm about to do some research. Smoke Sessions. How much do you retail for, sis? How much do you retail for? Come on, website load. £40? NANI?! Did I pay £40 for this? But yeah, this palette from Melt is the Smoke Sessions palette. It's £40. I've said this time and time again, Melt's palettes are definitely not worth the price. I like them, I like the colour schemes, I like the formula's okay, but they're not worth the price. Get them when they're on sale or if you have a discount. Question 4, your most affordable palette. Now, I've seen a lot of people do this tag. I mentioned the little e.l.f. mini tiny palettes, like little 4 pans. We don't have Melt, e.l.f. My brain literally forgot how to work just then. We do have the e.l.f. UK website, however, I never really am drawn to e.l.f. So my most affordable palettes right here are the Colourpop monochromatic palettes. These little 9 pans. I think they retail for about $12 US, which means they're about £8 each. Which honestly, like, amazing. I love the quality of Colourpop's shadows, they're really good. These are definitely the perfect little capsule palettes, and ironically, as I say that we don't have easy access to e.l.f. in the UK, we don't have easy access to Colourpop either, but I'm willing to pay the money and customs for Colourpop because I just love their eyeshadow formula, and I've not been impressed with e.l.f. eyeshadows, like, ever. I've tried a few. no. Question number 5, show your everyday palette. Now, I mean, look at me. I'm a bit of like a happy clown. You can't even see the look I have on today. Full look is on Instagram, except it's a lot more extra. I don't really have an everyday palette. I do colourful looks all the time. There's no really one go-to palette that I go to. However, if I had to pick one, it would be the Melt Millennial Pinks palette. This palette, yeah, this is definitely like a more everyday palette for me if I had to choose an everyday palette. It's got these nice pink tones, and we all know me, I love pink. But yeah, if I was going to a job interview, I would wear this palette, 100%. I would wear like one of these pinks like on the lid or whatever. Because you can kind of make it neutral in a way. In my eyes, pinks are my version of neutrals. But in my eyes, pinks are an everyday colour for me. I love pastel pinks, and this is my everyday palette if I had to choose one. Question number 6, show your most colourful palette. Now, apart from my Sugar Pill Pro palette, my baby, my most colourful palette definitely is the Lunar Skies and Blonde Turkey Anime Dreams palette. English. I am wearing this palette on my eyes today, as we can see, and I'm also wearing it in this super extra look that I did for Instagram. I just wanted to do a toned down version on camera because I didn't want to scare you. But yeah, this is definitely my most colourful palette. It's a really nice rainbow palette. I'm still testing it out. I need to get my full thoughts in it, but I'm thinking of doing a 3 looks 1 palette with it because I mean, look at it. So colourful, so many options. I can already tell you that I love this shade Chi. It's a metallic pink. I mean, we know how much I love pinks. But yeah, this is my most colourful palette, and the art on the cover is gorgeous. I love it. So cute. She got her little titties out. She got her titties out. We love it. We love titties. Question number 7, your smallest palette. Now, my smallest palette is the Fenty Beauty Snap Shadows in number 7. I can't open this. There we go. It is teeny tiny. Look how teeny tiny this is. For comparison, this is the Colourpop palette. It's so small. It's so small and cute. I love it. But yeah, it's a really cute little palette. I really like it. I can't open it though. It's annoying to open. I love this mustard shade. Oh my god, I love this mustard shade so much. Gorgeous. Yeah, it's an easy one to just yeet into your bag if you're going traveling, which we're not really doing much traveling nowadays, are we? Question number 8, show us your biggest palette. Now, my biggest palette, if we're talking about just size-wise, is the Sugar Pill Pro palette, because I mean, she a big bitch. Like, she thin and long. You know what I'm saying? She thin and long. But if we're talking the amount of shades, I've seen so many people show these massive palettes in this tag. However, my biggest eyeshadow palette is this big. This is the September Rose Brew palette, and actually this palette and the Anime Dreams both have the same number of shades. They both have 16 shades, I believe, if my math is correct. Hang on a minute. But these both have 16 shades. However, I did want to show off the Brew palette since I haven't shown this one. It's a gorgeous autumn-toned palette. I really like it so far. Normally, these aren't the tones I go for, but because I don't really have a lot of these colors in my collection, I thought, I'll grab this palette. It just sorts me out for all of like the autumn goodness that I need, and I mean, look at it. It looks delicious. Question number 9, show the palette with the best memory. Now, I really like this question. I think this is so cute, and the palette with the best memory easily is the Nabla Soul Blooming palette. Now, I've gone on about this palette so much on my channel if you watch me for any length of time. So many memories with this one. I bought this when I finished my first year exams at college, and I was so proud of myself. I wanted to give myself a little present. This palette has come with me to Montenegro, to New York City, to Singapore, to Shanghai, to Tokyo. This palette has been with me literally all around the world at this point, and every time I look at this palette, I just think of all my memories from visiting those places, and I love traveling. If y'all don't know that about me, I love traveling. I'm a well-traveled boy. I also wore this on Harley and I's 2nd anniversary, which holds a lot of sweet memories to me. I've worn this on my birthdays, even though I don't really like my birthday, but that's besides the point. I also wore this to my first ever job interview, and my boss complimented my makeup and made me really happy. Just, this is a palette I go to when I just am feeling down and I want to, like, have a pick-me-up, you know? And it may not seem like much from the colour scheme, but this is This is a sentimental palette to me as well, I have to say, and the packaging is gorgeous too. This is another palette that I feel like when it eventually goes bad, or if I just don't get inspired by it anymore, it'll join the other palettes here. My goddamn tripod's in the way. It's ruining it. But it will join the other palettes here with the good memories, and it will be displayed. Question 10, a palette worth the hype. Now, a palette worth the hype, say it with me, the Sugarpill Fun Size palette. I love this palette so much. It is a bright yet pastel dream. I actually have a cult surrounding this palette. I'm joking, by the way, I don't endorse cults by any means, but I do have a little cult on my Instagram surrounding this palette. I have influenced a lot of my friends to buy it, and they have not been disappointed, well, at least from what I hear. I seriously recommend this to everyone. It is seriously worth the hype. I don't really have many super hyped makeup items in my collection, but I personally think that this deserves the hype and even more. I love the formula of these shadows. They are different to the Sugarpill, like, big single shadows, but it's so easy to work with, nicely pigmented. You can build them up to make them even brighter, and you can not build them up and keep them a bit more pastel. Beautiful selection of colors. And the packaging and the names, oh, the only thing I would change about this palette is switch the names of the green and the purple. Reason being is because Twitch is the green, and that pisses me off a little bit. The Twitch logo is purple, so why isn't it the purple color? Literally my favorite palette of all time. I'm gonna say it. It's the best palette of the year for me, 100%. Question number 11, a palette not worth the hype. Now, I don't think I have anything that's not worth the hype, per se. Let me look at my drawer again. Hello? Anything not worth the hype in here? I guess the only thing that I wouldn't say is completely worth the hype is the Melt eyeshadow formula. Now, bear in mind, I do have 3 Melt palettes. I have the Millennial Pinks, the Smoke Sessions, and the Radioactive palette. And as much as I love the palettes, the formula is not really worth the hype. It's good, don't get me wrong, but for the price, nah. I guess, is that kind of a cheating answer? I don't know, because I literally don't have a palette to show you for this question. Now, the penultimate question, show a favorite palette from a favorite brand. And my favorite palette from a favorite brand is definitely the Kaleidos Futurism 5 Electro Turquoise palette. It's a bit of a handful of a name, but I adore this palette. You can actually tell it's quite scuffed around the edges because I did take this traveling with me, and she's seen better days. But she is stunning, she is gorgeous, one of my favourite colour stories. I love turquoise paired with this gorgeous orange, and these metallics are what made me fall in love with Kaleidos. I mean, their mattes are also absolutely stunning as well, but their metallics are gorgeous. I really love this palette, and I'm going to be purchasing a couple more of their Futurism palettes. I have my eye on the VR Neon, and even though I do not need that palette in the slightest, I love it, and I love their formula so much. But yeah, this is definitely a favourite palette from a favourite brand. I love Kaleidos. And the final question, question 13. Show your most used palette. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really write down a answer for this question because I have no idea. I think it would be a tie between my Soul Blooming, as you can actually see I have Pan in the shade Philosophy, one of my favourite shades in my collection, and also my Sugarpill Pro palette, because look how dirty this thing is. Look how dirty and nasty. I'd actually say I think this palette is definitely my most used because, I mean, we can see the pan in these shades and I constantly reach for these. Even if I'm not using them on my eyes, I will use them as face products. I just can't get enough of these eyeshadows. Like, y'all know this is my baby. Eventually I'll fill her up. And yeah, those are all of the questions, so that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please comment down below your answers to some of these questions. I mean, you don't have to comment all of your answers, but maybe just pick a few questions, or comment the entire thing. I love reading you guys' comments. I'll leave all of the questions written in the description down below. Don't forget to check out Samantha and Allie's videos as well. You can follow me on my social media. I have 2 Instagram accounts. I live stream on Twitch 3 times a week, and my Twitter are all linked down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands, and if you aren't subscribed already, please do subscribe. I would love to have you here. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.